Hi, I'm Bill Coppel, Chief Client Growth Officer at Trade PMR, a Robinhood company.
And I'm Ryan Neal, Senior Editor at Trade PMR/Robinhood, and welcome to the Synergize podcast live.
We're at the JW Marriott in Tampa for our Synergy25 conference and had a chance to sit down with Rich Cancro of AdvisorEngine, one of our premier marquee sponsors.
Rich, we heard you speak on the stage, so thanks so much for joining us here in the podcast booth.
It's a pleasure to be here. Love being here with the Trade PMR Synergy community. The energy is fantastic. Matter of fact, you can probably hear in the background. But really, the clients here really enjoy your service, your platform, your people. It's really a pleasure to be here.
We're glad to have you. And for those of you who may not know Rich, he is the CEO and founder of AdvisorEngine, a comprehensive wealth management platform. To learn more about Rich's story, please visit our show notes. So Rich, technology options are multiplying, client demands are changing, and the industry pressures are evolving. How can advisors get sharper about how they select the appropriate type of technology to really run their business?
Well, it's a great question, Bill. And the first thing I would say is take a deep breath, take a step back. And the first thing is every decision I think a firm should make, a CEO and the principals of the firm, is it aligned with your vision? And always stay true to your vision, because vision should never change. The second part of that is you should have a plan every year. You probably have a 3-year plan and a 1-year plan. What you're thinking about is that would fill within that plan, right? So whether you're thinking about growth, whether you're thinking about client success, scale, right, more operational efficiency, whatever those things that are you're focused on. And by the way, it's very hard to focus on all 3 at once. So I would suggest pick one at a time, focus on it. And does the partner you're thinking about working with, or the tool, or the service, the solution, whatever it may be, does that align to your vision and your plan for your 1 year and your 3-year plan?
That's great advice, because my experience has been people start with the technology and not with the vision. Ryan.
So I want to pick one of those, as you said. I'm going to pick growth. So let's talk about growth. What should firms be thinking about technology-wise when to help achieve their growth objectives?
This is going to sound a little, selfish here, but that's okay. I think everyone should be thinking about technology as a growth enabler, and I think that any finance person that thinks of as technology as a cost first is fundamentally looking at the wrong way. It should be 180 from that, and that it should be seen as a driver of your growth, driver of your client service, a driver of your scale.
Nice, it's a good answer.
So, Rich, we've heard you stress the need for advisory firms to connect with the next generation of clients. What can they do better to make that happen?
Well, first is I'm going to say take a step back, and I do talk a lot about this in the industry. I don't think most, and I mean the vast majority of advisors, are doing a great job of connecting the next generation. And it first starts with their own practice. Right, within their own practice is probably their greatest growth engine. It's the children and the grandchildren of your clients. And I'll just go through a real story, a very recent one, but I can rattle off 5 of these in the past 10 years, where a relative of mine passed away. I am the personal representative for their estate. It is $1 million+ estate. And I know for a fact that money is not going to stay with that advisor because they have not made any effort to create a relationship with both the surviving spouse nor the children. And I see this constantly, where I think our industry knows this money is transferring, but it's already started. And I think fundamentally isn't about just knowing you have a child or maybe shaking their hand, but making them your client. Once you make them your client and they feel your service, they build trust in you, and now you are set to get that inheritance and that transfer of wealth.
That makes complete sense. And it's funny the way you said it. I think it's very appropriate. Start at home. Start with your own business. Start with the people that you already know, and start to go vertically into those relationships to get to know that next generation.
No, 100%. And I'll give another real life story about this, because I think it's so critical for advisors. My wife and I have been looking for apartments, a new home in New York City, in Manhattan. And literally, I would say 8, maybe 9 out of 10 of the places that we've looked at are estate sales.
Wow.
It is unbelievable how many are estates. And I think that what we hear, which is also another thing, by the way, for advisors to help your clients plan, the time to be selling your apartment is not at the estate. Because what's happening is every single one of these apartments, value is being hurt because it's literally the last step in the process of closing out the estate. And that's the worst time you want to be selling a property. So whatever strategy an advisor can think about to talk to their clients about this to help preserve what's probably their most valuable asset, which is their real estate, ideally you would have that planned out well before it becomes an estate sale.
Yeah.
Got it.
And I think that could probably apply to a lot of things with advisor value. Getting proactive rather than reactive, right? Getting in there and establishing your value. But I want to shift a little bit to talking about one of what I think is one of the best examples of using AI technology, and that's note takers. Or I use it for transcribing interviews and summaries. I think it's so helpful. It's awesome. And I know that AdvisorEngine, you guys have been integrating with some AI note takers. You want to talk a little bit about that and maybe how advisors are using some of that technology?
Yeah, 100%. So we recently did a survey with John O'Connell from the Oasis Group. Right. And what I asked John to do is to say, hey, John, could you create a study and look at all the key note takers in wealth management and run them through the exact same script? Because that's the kind of cool thing about testing AI note takers, right? You can literally run the same script and see how they do. And we looked at Joel Bruckenstein's T3 Tech survey and kind of took the top 6 out there. And what we found of the 6, and you can look at the research at John's website on Oasis Group, is basically most of them, or really all of them, did a really nice job of transcribing the meetings. Where they all need to do better at is sentiment analysis. So for example, somebody saying, isn't that great? Could have followed the sentence of, oh, I have to retire 2 years later. So it's not picking up, it's picking up the words, but not necessarily the sentiment as well as it could. Right. So like sarcasm and things like that, they could do a little better job. They're also, they're starting to move in and go broader than note taking, right? Let me pause there too. Like, so for the AdvisorEngine CRM and other CRMs, they're integrating. So it's in our case, it's creating a ton of practice management efficiency because it's creating automatic workflows into our system to go to the right people and follow up on all the takeaways. But the other part of that is they're starting now to get into meeting prep. So collectively between meeting prep and note taking and the downstream impact of automating the workflows, it's bringing a lot of time back into the advisor's life, which allows them to either better serve their clients, do more with their clients, or of course, find new clients.
Right. Hey, let me follow up on that because the meeting prep is an important component of this. And, the old days was you had to have an agenda, and the agenda really never changed from meeting to meeting. Talk a little bit about how this new technology is creating a sort of a meeting agenda, if you will, that is more relevant.
Yeah, that's a great question, Bill. And I'd actually take it back to this transcription, then I'm gonna get to the meeting prep. The first part is the transcription would be, if you think about all of us humans, and my wife would confirm this with me, I can't multitask. I can either listen or I can talk. But me listening and taking notes, all of a sudden my typing or my handwriting, what I'm doing goes way down. So now the takeaways from that meeting, right, it is maybe lost or not as pristine as it could be. So note takers remove all of that. And then the second part, which and still we have advisors today who are not using AI note takers, may write down notes and give it to another person to put into a system, right? So you can now another transcription level that may be missing information. So getting those clear takeaways from those meetings is so important to actually the meeting prep for the next time you meet with the client, so you can talk about, hey, this is what we talked about, this is what we did together with you, and this is now where we're moving forward. So to me, it always starts with the prep of the actual meeting that you took last time, the notes, and then all the things that happened since then, and then a very organized way to go back to the client.
Great, that's good. So let me change gears for a second and go down a slightly different path. You recently announced an integration with Trade PMR. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that means and how that will positively impact advisors that are using the Trade PMR platform?
Yeah, no, it's very exciting. I've known Rob and Monica for several years, known the team here for several years, really enjoy the community. So as we've integrated over the past couple of years, we are announcing that the formal integration at the conference here. But what it really means is I think it's an opportunity for us to work with both a like-minded culture of helping advisors grow and really scale and really putting the advisor first. So that's so important to have that alignment. And then second, I think our combined capabilities, both from a service perspective and a technology perspective, I think elevates the experience an advisor can have and elevates the advisor's experience with their client.
Got it.
Great. Well, I'm going to move to wrap us up here. That's usually my job, is to end the podcast. What we like to do is give our listeners like an actionable thing they can take home, listen to this, take that to their practice, and enact it in their practice or enact it in their firm. So for Rich, how can advisory firms cut through some of that industry noise, focus their strategies, and position themselves for growth?
So the first part, just going back a few minutes ago, I do think it's so important to have that vision, stay true to your vision, and not try to do too many things at once, right? So stay to your plan as well.
Yeah.
But I would say the one main takeaway, and this is a little story again, is I think most advisors can really up their game around marketing. So for example, I'm a high net worth investor. I live in Manhattan, not hard to find. I have a pretty big public persona, but the only people who connected with me so far is Creative Planning and Fisher Investments.
Interesting.
No other RIA, to my knowledge, has ever reached out to me. I'm not asking anybody to do that now. I'm very happy with my advisor, who is an RIA. But I would say really take a step back and really think through how you're marketing. And certainly AI can sort of help there. But really realize that while referrals are really important to your growth, moving forward, and I'd say it's already here, becoming really good at marketing, which is both science and art, is so important to the growth of the future of your company.
Makes complete sense.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Rich. Thank you for joining us here at Synergy at the Synergize podcast booth.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate having you stop by.
Oh, and we hope everyone enjoyed this conversation. If you like what you heard, just take a quick second to like, subscribe, share, hit the buttons, all that good stuff online. It helps the algorithm, helps get our podcast out there, and we appreciate all of you.
Thanks for listening, and watch out for our next episode where we'll share more insight and ideas to help you grow your business. And remember, the challenge is yours to capitalize on what the future holds.
This special episode of the Synergize podcast was sponsored by...
Looking to grow your wealth management firm? Gladstone Group is a boutique investment bank that can help unlock the value you've built in your RIA. With comprehensive investment banking, talent search, and valuation services, all under one roof. With over 850 successful M&A transactions, valuations, consultations, and talent searches, we match great people with great companies and great companies with each other. So whether you're buying, selling, or building for the future, our expertise helps RIAs make informed decisions that work to maximize value. Discover why the most sophisticated firms choose Gladstone. Visit us at gstoneinc.com to start your journey.
Since 1993, millions of investors have built their portfolios using tips from the Motley Fool LLC's online investment newsletters. As a sister company, Motley Fool Asset Management started with a simple question: how could we put the distinctive foolish investment approach to work for even more investors? Answer: ETFs built around the highest conviction stock picks from professional foolish analysts. These ETFs seek to outperform the market and deliver compounding returns for your client portfolios. Explore all of our foolish ETFs at fooletfs.com. Motley Fool Asset Management and Trade PMR are unaffiliated companies.
All third parties mentioned and Trade PMR are unaffiliated companies. The third parties mentioned are available for purchase and/or subscription through Fusion. Please contact the provider for information about their terms and conditions, as well as any fees that may apply.
If you want to join the conversation or connect with us, please visit us at synergizepodcast.com. This content is provided for general information purposes only. The views expressed by non-affiliated guest speakers are their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinion of Trade PMR or its affiliates. Trade PMR and its affiliates do not endorse any guest speakers or their companies and therefore give no assurances as to the quality of their products and services. This channel is not monitored by Trade PMR. Trade PMR does not provide investment advice, tax advice, or legal advice. Trade PMR is a member of FINRA and SIPC. Trade PMR Inc. is registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and the Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board, MSRB. Trade PMR provides brokerage and account services to registered investment advisors. Custodial services provided by First Clearing. First Clearing is a trade name used by Wells Fargo Clearing Services, LLC. Member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer and non-bank affiliate of Wells Fargo & Company. Copyright 2025, Trade PMR Inc. For a transcript of this episode with sources, visit synergizepodcast.com.